Okay, I'm thrilled about this for a couple of reasons, by the way. So I'll just throw this out there. Joe Marco is our guest for this, but the title of this particular webinar, Major Advances in Schuberth Motorsport Helmets and RaceCom Electronics, and this is with HMS Motorsports. And Joe, I'll tell you, I'm a fan for a couple of reasons, because number one, I'm a huge advocate of safety. Back in another part of my career when I was selling race cars and, running a race car dealership, I always used to tell people, look, first money should be spent on safety. After that, figure out how to make your car go fast. But, you shouldn't skimp on anything like that. And the other reason is, as a motorcyclist, and I know we're talking about race cars, but I am aware of Schuberth helmets as well. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about on that side. But kind of give us an idea of some of the things we're looking at and what we're talking about here today when it comes to electronics and Schuberth helmets and communication and safety and all of that.
All right, well, Brad, it's great to be back again. We were here last year and we did a seminar. We introduced our new, what at that point was our new Schubert SP1 carbon helmet. Since that time, and this is the official announcement right here, we haven't shown it to anybody. We've come up with an 8860 version, which we call it SF4. It's an 8860, FIA 8860 2018 non-APB. So it's basically what IMSA is requiring and what a lot of sanctioning organizations are starting to require. So this is the official announcement. We will have available for shipping. Our first shipment should be coming in at the end of this month, the beginning of November, from size 54 to 59. And then in February, we'll have the larger shell size, which will be size 60 to 63. Homologations are ready. Just the paperwork on the second size shell isn't quite ready yet, so that takes a little bit longer. But we're going to talk a little bit about those helmets. And then now you mentioned Schubert motorcycle helmets. Well, Schubert is pretty well known for motorcycle helmets. In motorsports, really the only helmets that they've done in the last several years have been for F1. So, I mean, you've got Mick Schumacher, and you got Verstappen, and a number of other drivers in Formula One right now running Schubert helmets. Up until last year when they started making the SP1 carbon helmet, the only motorsport helmets that they made were really for pretty much F1, and they were all custom fit and everything done. So the factory that makes them it's owned by Schubert. It's 100% owned by them. It's in Italy. And the same factory that's making the Formula One helmets has been making our SP1 helmets, and they've been flying off the shelves. We had a huge year last year, better than I possibly could have expected. We received over 500 helmets and the volume, which is pretty good for the first year for only one carbon helmet. So what they've done is they've now gone back. They have an SF3 helmet, which is with the Xylon built into the thing, which is required for Formula One. But the 8860 non-ABP helmet, this is what the new helmet is. And this is what will be required if you're running IMSA. IMSA requires an 8860 helmet. In NASCAR, it's not required, but you'll find that a large majority of the drivers in the Cup Series are running 8860s. And on top of that, there are a number of just regular people who choose to run an 8860 for the additional safety that's involved in that. Now, one of the questions you might ask, and since you want to do, is why is an 8860 better than a Schnell 2020? Well, the 8860 requirement, the Schnell requires the helmet to be dropped on certain forms and to have a certain amount of protection against intrusion and a certain amount of protection against concussive injuries that would happen. Typically, a Schnell test drops the helmet from 3 meters, whereas with an 8860, the helmet is dropped from 5 meters, but it has to have the same protection for intrusion as well as the same protection for concussive injury, which means that with a much harder impact, I still have a greater level of protection. So I can take a harder impact and have as much protection with a much softer impact than what would be with a Schnell 2020. So you'd be surprised, we're surprised actually on how many people racing in SVRA, racing in even non-professional series will step up and take that additional safety factor of an 8860 helmet. So now a couple of things with the Schubert helmets that are very unique is that, well, first you can see the carbon weave on this is just incredible. The factory that's doing the painting of the helmets to do the clear coat is a very, very thin clear coat. The only other work that they do is they do the carbon paint work for Lamborghini, Ferrari, Pagani, and a bunch of other, you know, exotic cars. They really don't do much on small projects, but they like the Schubert helmet so much that they opted to opt in and do our helmet. So the helmet is extremely light, and also the profile of the helmet is very small. So it's the smallest profile of a helmet, both in the height and the width, to get the same fitment size inside as like any of the competing helmets. So if you're in a car where you have a really tight situation and your head is, you know, an inch, and that extra inch is going to give you the clearance that you need to keep your head off the ceiling or off the roll bar, this is the helmet that's going to be for you. It's also the new 8860 is the lightest helmet that's out there. I mean, it's on par with anything that's out there, and probably a couple of grams lighter, depending on what size and what padding and what accessories you might have. You know, it's going to be, if not the lightest, it's going to be within 10 or 15 or 20 grams. But we believe in most cases you're going to find out that it's going to be the lightest. The other thing is that the helmet is homologated with and without electronics. So all of the different things I have pictured on the table here are different pieces that are homologated. So for one, this is a top air. This is a top air that we would typically use in NASCAR. So you can see it kind of goes on and you get air both to the front as well as to the top. And the very cool thing with all the Schubert helmets that you find here, and this is personal, this is my own helmet right here. You can see a nice HMS on the front. The 6 air holes in the top let air come in, and the 6 air holes in the back let air go out. I can actually drive when I'm out at VIR and I'm in a M3 a street car for track days. I'm an instructor. When I'm driving down the back straight or driving down the front straight, I can actually feel, with the windows down, I can feel the air coming in over top of my head and exiting out the back. It's the only helmet I've ever worn that I've had that kind of cooling and that kind of airflow within the operation of just driving a car in a sedan. And the reason for that is that inside the EPS, there are channels on the top of the EPS that allow the air to flow through. But the crown pad that sits against the EPS has a firm foam on the upper side so that no matter how much you compress that foam, it doesn't push that foam up into the air channel. So it continues to get that airflow. So whether you're using, you know, one of the top air systems that are on the helmet, or whether you're just sitting in the car, if you're in an open car, you're going to get that airflow, an incredible amount of airflow that's going to go through it. So it's kind of taking some of that smartness in the design from what happens in the motorcycle helmet. The difference with a motorcycle versus a motorsport helmet is you generally need to get a lot more airflow in a motorcycle helmet. Well, we've managed to get a lot of that airflow in a motorsport helmet, which is something that's very cool. So that's really a neat thing. Now, within the helmet, we can do a lot with integrated electronics. So with this particular helmet, if you want to get ear cups, this is a kit here, which is speakers in the ear cups, which fit, they're designed to fit right into it. You have a boom mic, and you can either use a boom mic, or we also have an integrated mic that goes into the chin pad. Okay, now this particular kit here is what we call a dual kit. So what this does is this gives me, I've got an earbud connector right here, so I can get the sound through the speakers, but I can also get sound through earbuds. So if you're in a really loud car, or if you just want for redundancy purposes, I can get sound from both the earbud and the speaker at the same time and connect the boom mic. Now, all of the electronics for the Schuberth Motorsport helmets worldwide are being built by us here at HMS from our RaceCom division. We spent a lot of work in building these electronics. The gentleman in charge of our electronics division is an ex-F-15 avionics engineer, and all of the things you can do. I don't know if you look really detailed at, you know, how we make all the cable connections and stuff in here. It's done to a way that a mil spec or an aviation spec would be done. So we actually warranty all of our electronics for 2 years. Now there's some other little things that are unique. So when the electronics are sitting in the helmet, you can see here the wire that's coming out of the bottom of the helmet, okay? It's got a little clip that goes on here. What that is, it's just string relief. So you're never going to pull that cable any more than it needs to be done. The other thing is that on you see another little clip here, and what that's for is your earbud connector or your IMSA connector or whatever. You can snap it right in, and then that's going to lock that in there tightly. So a lot of little detail work has come in. There are a lot of special pieces. You know, on the boom here, you can see these little squares. Well, there's a track inside of the chin pad and the cheek pad that is going to lock that in so it can't rotate and can't get out of position. So that's the basic with electronics. Visors, the neat thing, all of the visors, all of the electronics, all of the air pieces are identical, whether it's the SP1 or the SF4. So everything is interchangeable. So if you're a dealer, and I know a lot of dealers are out there listening to this now, you only have to carry one set of cheek pad variances to be able to customize the thing. You only need to have one set of visors because the visor is the same for all of the helmets. So it's really very, very simple for you to have all of the same accessories and not have to restock different accessories for different helmets. So it's very, very, very cool. All of our helmet kits come with a little card inside, so it can either be installed by your dealer, or if you purchase the helmets, dealers purchase helmets, we'll pre-install all the electronic kits here. The same kits are the kits that we're shipping over to Europe, and they're installing or pre-installing for dealers over in Europe. Another very cool thing that's come out of Schubert, and this is an electronic piece that we're not making here, but it's made by a hearing aid company called Hermes in Italy, which is very close to where the Schubert helmets are made. Now, these are very, very, very cool. So this is a very small silicone earpiece that's going to fit in the ear. There are three different ends that can come on, that can just snap on and snap off. And it fits very tightly within the ear, and it gives you a seal in the ear, which gives you a lot of noise reduction. But in addition, the sound that comes out of it is spectacular. We have it with the standard US 3.5 pin connector. In Europe, though, they do something a little bit different. In Europe, they use an RCA connector, which is this connector here. Now, the reason they use RCA almost universally in Europe is actually it's a much more dynamic connection to the clip. A lot of times, if you show up at the track with the 3.5 pin connector, it jiggles a little bit in the connection where you plug it into the helmet, or it becomes staticky, or a lot of times you see drivers put tape around it. With an RCA connector, you don't have that issue, because if it gets a little bit loose, there's three little pieces of metal around here. You can just push it together, and that makes a tighter connection. So this is something, we've got a couple of NASCAR drivers that we've converted to this, and they find it's a much more solid connection, much less likely suspect to a vibration. Another little thing with these earbuds, I don't know if you can see it here again, I'll bring it back over. You see this little white piece that's in the tip of the earbud? That is a hearing aid wax filter. So basically we have a little kit that comes with it. There's these little plastic things, and they have replacement with that little white piece. You can just stick a stick in it, pop it out, and put a new one in. A lot of times earbuds get bound up because the wax gets into the channel of your hearing from, whether you're custom ear molds or whatever else. So what we're finding is these are $2.99. So for roughly the cost of a really good set of custom ear molds, you get this, which tends to be more comfortable, more noise reduction, and better overall sound, and better ability to deal with wax and things that you get in the ear. So we're really excited about the new Hermes earbuds system. We think it's going to be just something really terrific. So that's kind of a little bit of an overview of what we have on the Schubert line. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about what we're doing with other parts of our RaceCom division. So RaceCom started for us about 4 years ago. We acquired a company called Race Communications out of Virginia. And we've now we've got new manager that came in 3 years ago. And he's really, like I said, he's an XF-15 avionics engineer. He's really turned everything around. So we've come up with a number of unique products. One of the first ones I want to show you is we have a radio kit, right, that Zach is going to show you right here. This is a portable, basically it's a portable car harness, portable radio kit you can put in a car. So it's a box that you can attach to a roll bar with the two clips. And it's got the radio in there. with the harness to attach to your helmet. And it's got a push to talk button, which you can attach, and you can just put that around your steering wheel. So you could actually, without having to have your whole car pre-wired, you can just simply put that into the car and move it from one car, move it to the next car. It's a really great, easy to use tool for somebody who doesn't have all the electronics, but's coming to do a race or something where they need communication. We have other things that kind of make that life easier too. This thing here is a student boom, and the student boom, this is something that we make. We made it for our TrackCom, which is our intercom for driver schools. I'll show you that in a minute. But this, we actually make the entire component. You know, we obviously buy the microphone from somewhere, but we designed and have the preformed mold for the earpiece. So this is something you can stick up in your helmet, and then I can put whatever connector on the end that I'd like to put. So it can be a connector to go to a steel helmet. It can be a connector to go to an IMSA plug that might already for the car harness. So this could be used for like a Chump Car team or a Champ Car team or a Lemons team. If you have a driver, they don't have electronics in their helmet, simple little boom, and it gives them the speaker and the microphone, and it's a great piece. Now, all of the Schubert and all of the RaceCom electronics are warranted for 2 full years without, no questions asked. You just show your invoice date and they're warranted, and that's the confidence that we have in it. This is another very cool thing. So a lot of people, especially doing like driver schools, or maybe they want to have comms in their helmet, but they don't want to use earbuds. So this is a helmet kit that we made up, and we've got 2 speakers. And what we've done is we've taken the speakers that we used in our student boom, and we actually made them into a very small profile piece that has Velcro on the back that can be put into almost any helmet. They fit in a Rye helmet, and HJC helmets, and Bell helmets. So if you don't have ear cups, but you still want to have speakers in the helmet, these are high-powered speakers, very good volume. You can put some spacers in the back to get it close to your ear. It has a soft pad, but they're small enough to easily fit into pretty much any helmet. And you've got a boom mic, and then that will just plug right into an IMSA connector or adapter that can go to a car harness and a radio, or to our in-car communicator. So let me talk a little bit about that. I'll lay that down. So this right here is our new TrackCom intercom. Now we've had, this is our version 2. So we've had several versions of TrackCom in the past. Since we make them all here in our shop in Mooresville, it evolves. I mean, so we make little changes. Somebody says, well, the knob is too easy to turn. So we come up with a way to make it more difficult, or it needs to stop so you don't go too far. This intercom, what we benchmarked it against Speedcom, against any of the other intercoms that are out there for driver schools, and we've got the same loudness. We've got no interference with noise, and we have all sorts of adapters. So we have adapters that can go to a Stilo helmet, to an IMSA helmet, to our student boom. And there's a separate volume control for driver and for passenger. And the knob is hard enough to move so that you don't knock it by accident. We can put a clip on the back. You can just kind of clip it to the seatbelt. It comes with a clip, comes with a 9-volt battery. So you're never worried about getting to the track. Oh, I forgot to charge it. So all those things are pretty cool. It also has an aux out port. So if I want to record what I'm saying between a driver or instructor or whatever you're doing, if you want to send that out to like a GoPro camera or something, you can use the aux out for that. So it's a very cool device. Very light, small. You can throw it in the cup holder, and it works extremely well for communications for in-car instruction. Now, last year, because of COVID, in-car instruction became a bit of a problem. So we had to solve that problem. So what we did is we developed another product called the Chaser. And the Chaser here is just, you get 2 little Bluetooth devices here. And what these do is these will connect directly to a cell phone. So for example, at the beginning of the year, I was out at BIR in April, and I was teaching. I had 2 students. So we had 3 Chaser units, 2 of them come in a kit. And what I was able to do is we create a conference call. And so we could drive out on the track, and I could say, okay, we got a group behind us, guys, let's let those guys by. And I'll say, hey, John, I'd like you to show me through turn 14. So I can watch him go through turn 14. I can say, okay, your foot off the apex. So I can communicate in real time, like I was sitting next to him. And it's great because we had a lot of fun. So we could say, we could, shit talk, I guess is maybe we shouldn't say that, but we shit talk a little bit while we're driving around and have fun and enjoy. But we could also say, all right, I want to see you go through the corner. No, I want you to follow me through the corner. And what I found is that it's a great tool for advanced drivers for instruction, even though we don't need to do lead follow so much anymore as COVID is winding down. Being able to lead follow, as long as you can communicate, it really gives you a strong capability. Now, we found another use for the chaser, and that is what Zach is showing you right now. That's a single chaser unit with a cable that will connect to your helmet, either Stilo, IMSA, or the student boom, which will Bluetooth connect to a Garmin device. So a lot of people have looked at the Garmin Catalyst as a tool to drive on the track, and this will connect directly to it. And the Garmin uses voice instruction, and if you don't have some way to hear it when you've got a loud car, you're not going to hear what the instructions are from the Garmin device. So this will actually give you that direct communication and make it really something that you can effectively do the school from. So that's a really quick thing on just overall of what we're doing. This is a thing I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's here, so I'll talk about it. This is a little device which we call the Sentry. It's based on a lot of the technology that we did with the Chaser. This will be out in the first quarter next year, and this will be the replacement for certain devices that are out there for just a receiver, but a really robust piece that works similar to the way our Chaser works, our TrackCom. It'll be able to be attached to the side of your helmet just with some Velcro to make it nice and small. It'll be a receiver, but it'll have actually a little screen so you can do it. We're pretty close. We were hoping to have the prototype finished for you to show today. So instead, I printed out a nice little piece here on the 3D printer, but that's what it's going to look like, but very small. So we're always working hard within RaceCom and within HMS to improve everything. Now communications isn't necessarily safety, but if you can't communicate effectively, and if you're not in communication and you don't hear what's going on, then that's a safety factor to take into account as well. So I ran through a lot of stuff here right here. Let's see, we're doing pretty good. What I do want to do is say, today I've talked a lot about products, and that's great. But one of the big things that we are here at HMS is we are really interested in promoting safety. We've been in business for 26 years. I've been involved in many different organizations. I'm the National Safety Steward for BMW CCA. I'm a regional driver representative for the Southeast for BMW. I've helped a number of organizations aside from the BMW Club, the Porsche Club, SCCA, SCCA Pro Racing. I've helped them with their rule books as far as designing different things that they need for how to mount safety belts, how to do things. I worked with John Melvin. We developed the guide to installation of seat belts that SFI uses. That's their standard download. And we've done a number of videos and safety videos. If you go to our YouTube page, so YouTube/HMS Motorsport, you'll see probably 40 or 50 videos that talk about different topics of safety. So I talk in some of the videos, I talk about helmets, some of them I talk about seatbelt installation, proper use of seats, seatbelt or roll bar padding, driver suits, whatever you can think of. It's something that we do on a regular basis. Last couple of years, we've done a lot with Apex Pro, Andrew Rains. We've done some safety seminars probably once a month. All those are up there. Our EPARTRADE presentation from last year is up there. We have instructions, very short ones, on how to wrap shoulder belts. It's one of the big things that people don't do properly. Just a whole cadre of videos that are up there for safety. And I strongly recommend you to go there. They're not there for purposes of sales. They're there for purposes of making sure that you're as safe as possible. We are involved with every little bit of safety that we can. We've worked with NASCAR since 2002 on many of the sled tests that they've done to evolve the belts into 6 from 6-point to 7-point to 9-point belts that are with the 16.6 spec. And so it's been a lot of work with a lot of different people. But the most important thing is you don't have to spend a lot of money. Okay. I mean, we love it when you buy our products, and some of our products are more at the high end of the price range. But whatever safety product you buy, the most important thing is to use that product the proper way. So it doesn't, if you spend $80 for a seatbelt, fine, but make sure you install it properly. Make sure that the lap belts will pivot. Make sure that the positioning of the lap belt and the shoulder belts, that they're correct. If you buy a seat, make sure it fits. If you buy a helmet, don't buy it online. Go to a local retail store where you can try it on, and they can show you the proper way to fit a helmet, and they can make sure that you're using the tools in the way that they're supposed to be used. You can spend $600 on a piece of safety equipment, but if it's a helmet and it doesn't fit right, it's not going to do any more for you than a $200 helmet is going to do. And then you can buy a $1,000 seat belt, okay? But if you don't wear it properly, if you don't wear it tight and doesn't have the right angles, it's not going to do what it's designed to do. So make sure you get the right thing. Go to reputable retailers who know the product, who can explain the product, who can look at your car, who can do it. If you do things like that in person, okay, you're going to get much more out of it, and you're going to be ensured that you buy a product that's going to be the right one for you.
Wow. What an incredible presentation, Joe. And I'm just thoroughly impressed with everything that you guys have to offer. I'm going to have to come up and make a visit, I think, here pretty soon and check it all out. But thank you so much for that, and really look forward to learning more about it.
Okay. We appreciate it.
The concept for EPARTRADE is basically, in my opinion, there's a big hole in the internet. So the internet started many years ago, but there's never been an online business community for racers on the World Wide Web. The need for EPARTRADE is actually quite obvious. Basically, people in the business of auto racing need a place online to hang out and get their problems solved.
It's extremely simple for a buyer or for a supplier to interact on the platform. The first thing you need to do is sign in, which is free. And the second thing is, when you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information. If it's a company, you click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
You can go to EPARTRADE.com, you become part of a community of businesses in racing, and it makes sourcing products much easier than just on the internet or using Google.
At EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier through an email.
More than that, it's a place to go just to keep current every day. So it's a good place to start your workday in your racing business or in your offices of your professional race team. And you know you're current when it comes to new technology, industry news, technical papers, technical videos, all of that and more. We're not looking for a million hits per day. All we want is people who are really the volume buyers of racing products in the racing industry to be part of the little world of EPARTRADE. We have racing businesses participating from around the world. So you get suppliers from around the world, you get buyers from around the world.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
There are two types of people, racers and everyone else. Racer Magazine is for those who believe that racing is a way of life. Racer embodies the excellence that defines a sport driven by passion, courage, and ingenuity. Get 1 year of both Racer's print and digital edition for only $39 with instant access to our entire digital issue archive. Subscribe now at info.racer.com.